Good morning, everyone. This is Carla Silvestre. Welcome to the MC Votes presentation. I am joined by Hannah Stocks, and I'll have her introduce herself in a moment, but just wanted to welcome you to our presentation. We are very weeks away from the Maryland primary election, and we are very committed to making sure that our students and our staff are informed and that we can get every student that wants to vote informed and ready to vote for the July 19th primary. We have been collecting some data, and it shows that we have pretty good student voter registration at Montgomery College, but we need to improve our actual same day, actually getting people to turn out to vote when they are registered to vote. So that is part of our efforts here today, is to get faculty more informed about how they can promote voting and voter registration in their classes. So welcome, and I will turn it over to Hannah.
Great, thank you, Carla. Let me just run through the overall theme. At the end of today, you should have quick nonpartisan information to share with your class or your students. That includes election dates, how to register, how to check your registration, voter guides, and early voter locations. You will also have the ability to request an MC Vote student ambassador to speak to your class. We'll talk about integrating voter education into your classroom, and we're going to do a quick pledge to encourage students to vote, and you can take the pledge. Hopefully that will help you vote. So just a quick food for thought question. Who talked to you about voting when you were a new voter in the US? And what motivated you to vote? Or maybe if you didn't vote, what could have motivated you to vote? I can share my personal experience. You know, I grew up with parents who had voted, so my parents were a huge part of my starting to vote at 18. Many of our students have that, but not all of our students have parents who are, you know, regular voters. So it is important that you all play some of that role also.
Well, my story is that I became a citizen only 14 years ago. And so by then I was pretty, you know, I had my education. And so I was anxious to get started to start voting, but really a novice in terms of knowing what to do or how to research different candidates. And so I think maybe the Obama election was my first time voting. And certainly I think, you know, to answer your question, presidential elections get people really tuning in to voting. And but we can't only vote at presidential elections, of course, since there's so many important races, midterms and presidential.
Thank you for sharing that, Carla. All right, so these are just some quick national demographics. You can see voting by age is the voter turnout rates are the lowest with those younger age brackets, and kind of go up as age brackets go up. So as we know, many of our students, of course not all of them, but many are younger voters. And then nationally, education rate does influence voter turnout. So more highly educated individuals are more likely to vote. And the good news is actually even some college has a positive impact on voting. So many of our students are on a great path. I also just think this is really critical. Voter turnout by major. This is of college students. So some of this makes sense, but this puts a little pressure on those of you who are in the STEM fields and the lower voter turnout fields. So as you can see, education majors most likely to vote, humanities majors, health professionals, communications, journalism, etc., and social studies students are all very likely to vote. All of those are around 50%, 46 to 55%. At the other end of the spectrum, here we're seeing our STEM students. So engineers, these are, you know, really wonderful students, but only 35% of engineering students are voting nationally. Math and stats is about the same, and it's slightly higher for physical science, technology, technicians, I guess maybe trades broadly, and then parks, recreation, leisure, and fitness studies. So this slide is what really makes me hope that some of our faculty in non-kind of traditional voting classes, not your classes where you'd be talking about voting anyway, but other courses will bring up voting and maybe tie it into your course in some way, or maybe just remind your students how important it is for all of us to vote. So some key info and dates. Primary elections in Maryland are on July 19th this summer. However, early voting is an option from July 7th through the 14th. And then the general elections are on November 8th. Again, early voting is an option from October 27th through November 3rd. Carla, is there anything you wanted to add in on this slide or the previous one?
Just so many ways to vote. You know, July 19th is kind of vacation season. Maybe some of our students are checked out because they're working jobs. And so if you know, or if your students are going to be kind of not paying attention, encourage them to request a mail-in ballot. They can get it now, complete it, and then mail it in or drop it off at one of the Board of Elections drop boxes all over the county, and they're done. And they can go about their summer business and not have to miss out on voting. Of course, another great feature of Montgomery County is we have so many early voting centers. And so if you check out the Board of Elections website, you will see there are, thank you, there are lots of centers. And so almost for what, 8 days, 10 days?
Right around there, yeah.
You can go to any of these centers. Doesn't matter if it's your polling. No, that doesn't apply to early voting. You can go to any of these centers during operating hours and vote, which is fantastic because, you know, on election day, you have to go to your voting, your polling location, your precinct. And so sometimes that confuses people, but hey, take advantage of early voting and go, and during your lunch hour or before work, after work. And also encourage your students to get it done during these days. They don't have to think about it on election day. I know a lot of people like to vote on election day, but it's always good to have a plan.
Absolutely. And, you know, it was making this presentation that I looked at those July 19th primaries and myself went, oh, I'm not around then. So just sharing this information with your students is key, right? That is what motivated me to fill out that mail-in ballot, which had been sitting on my kitchen counter for a while. So when people know these things, they're likely to take action, myself included, I guess. So registration, just some quick notes on this, and there is a video that you can show your students on the Montgomery County Board of Elections website. Online registration is super easy, and that video literally tells you click here, click there, fill out this form. It's very, very quick. I would venture to say the vast majority of our students could go through this process in 5 minutes. Paper registration is still an option. And then in Montgomery County, we have registration in person on election day. So you can show up to your, in your precinct, to your local voting spot and register on election day. All that said, it's great to register in advance if that's something you have the ability to do. All right. So we're going to just show you this quick video about one of the available voting guides, which is vote411.org. Before I show you this video, I will just say vote411.org is a tool put together by the League of Women Voters. The League of Women Voters is really an awareness organization and to a degree an advocacy organization that is promoting voting for everyone. So don't let that name take you by surprise. They are fully in favor of all people voting or all eligible people voting. So let us show you this video quickly.
Hey voters, you have a right to know where your local and state candidates stand on the issues you care about. The Vote 411 voter guides connect candidates directly to you, unedited, by answering
I apologize.
Guides connect candidates directly to you, unedited, by answering specific questions developed for every election. So before you complete your next ballot, check out your Vote 411 voter guide. It's your chance to review candidates' views on issues that affect you and your community. Visit vote411.org to explore your voter guide now. Get online, get the facts, and make your voice heard.
Great. Carla, is there anything you'd like to add in about that resource or other resources?
Yeah, this is so important. There's so many races, and so I find it sometimes overwhelming to try to figure out who to vote for, because there's so much research that needs to be done. And so these voter guides really lay out all the candidates. They ask them the same questions, and then you can read through them and do your best to say, you know, which ones have my priorities at the forefront, which ones seem to share my values, and then make the best decision that you can on that information. And so we have the League of Women Voters Guide. We have the newspapers also do their own voter guides. And so we want to make this as easy and accessible to our students. The League of Women Voters also share that they have now published also a Spanish version of their voter guide, just again to promote understanding of who's running for office and how you can make your choice.
Great. And one thing I like about the League of Women Voters Guide is that they ask candidates for responses to questions, and they publish exactly what the candidate sends, right? They're not editing it. They're not tweaking it in any way. So you're getting exactly the words straight from the candidate. So I at least find that very helpful. All right. And Carla, why don't you tell us briefly about the student ambassadors before I show this video?
Yes, for even in the last election and previously, we've had student ambassadors, MC Vote student ambassadors that kind of do the peer-to-peer outreach to talk to their fellow students about getting registered to vote and how do you get informed. And so we have 3 student ambassadors currently working with us, and they are available to come to your classes to talk to students about the voter process and the upcoming election. So we are July 19th, so we're weeks away from the primary. And so, take advantage of these students and they can come to your class. As I said, Gloria Bonilla is the contact, and they are fabulous.
All right, let's hear one of them briefly.
Hey, Raptor. Are you ready to vote in the upcoming primary election? This is an election year for governor, county executive, and many other important local races. You can register online or via text. Don't delay. Register today. Hey, Raptor.
Great. I think it's super cool that students can hear from other students. So a reminder, just contact Gloria Bonilla if you would like an MC Votes ambassador to come talk to your class. That is such a cool opportunity. All right, so we are going to speak briefly about integrating voter education into your classroom. There are so many great ways to do this. So my kind of leading question is, how could the following disciplines integrate voter education into a course? And we'll go through these one by one. So the 4 are writing, communications, graphic design, and math or stats. So Carla and I will just share a few thoughts with you. I can kick off with writing. In writing, I mean, the topic a student writes about can be directed toward voting, right? And this can go in any form of writing. It could be, a 5-paragraph essay. It could be poetry or creative writing. It could be anything, but just kind of directing students toward this topic of civic engagement and voting is a great lead and a perfectly good way to practice those critical writing skills. Could be research paper, I should have said that, really, really anything. Carla, would you like to take on one of those areas?
Certainly, it really lends itself well to the social sciences in terms of, the importance of voting to maintain a healthy democracy, or just basically pointing them to our MC Votes website where they can get more information on, if you're sitting in a class full of students and it's July 19th or the first weeks of July, and you feel like you want to do something, but maybe you didn't prepare, send them to the MC Votes website, send them to the Legal Women Voters Guide so they can get informed, and just really encourage them to vote and why it's important, and put the resources in front of them. We'll do all the work. We'll get the website looking really good with easy to use resources. We just need your help during those weeks in July that are so important to just really give them that final push to actually go vote. Again, that's our problem. We have lots of students registered, but they're not walking themselves over to a polling location to vote.
That's great. And I totally agree that using that MC Votes website is good for any class. If you're a professor in another area, I mean, math, stats, can you look at voter data by different demographics, by different regions, things like that? Is that something you could do with your students? Can you have your students designing graphics or, doing speech projects or things like that, speaking about voting? There's so many different options, but that MC Votes website is a resource for all of you. So we really encourage you to think, how can you integrate voter education into your course? Can you tie it to your course content? If so, great, go for it. If that's a bit more of a stretch for you, just please do share the resources with your students. All right, so we're going to share briefly this pledge. This is the All In to Vote Voter Pledge. And the reason we picked this is twofold. One, it's super easy. All you do is you go to this website, you literally type in your name and your email to take a pledge. There is no commitment. Sorry, that is really not right. You're making a commitment to vote, but you are not even necessarily signing up for emails. You are not, getting more involved besides saying, I will vote. So there's one very clear commitment that you'll vote, but you have choices in there about emails and further involvement beside the commitment to vote. The other cool thing, the second reason we picked this, is that they have this national leaderboard of colleges. So if people continue to select that they're from Montgomery College, we could climb the leaderboard by having hundreds or thousands of students complete this All In to Vote pledge. So I really encourage you to go to that website and complete that pledge yourself, and also to do that with your class. Data shows that people who do pledge to vote are more likely to vote. Just like Carla said, people who make a plan to vote are also more likely to vote. Would you like to take this one, Carla?
Yeah, so like I said, we do have an MC Votes webpage. If you just go to the Montgomery College website and search MC Votes, you will go to our website, and it has the student videos, one of which was shown today. It also has links to the League of Women Voters and the Montgomery County Board of Elections for more information. Kind of our voter plan, if you're curious about what we're doing this year. And if you have ideas, if you've visited our website and you think there's some things missing, please contact us and let us know what would be useful to you as a faculty member as you prepare to talk to your students about voting.
Great, thank you. And the final note that is that if you would like to get more involved with MC Votes, you can simply email us, mcvotes@montgomerycollege.edu. Carla facilitates those approximately monthly meetings, and we are looking for faculty of all disciplines, employees, anywhere within the college to get involved to help share the importance of voting with our students.
And I just wanted to remind our faculty members that are watching, again, just a reminder, this is an important election. The midterm elections will be electing from Congress to governor, to county executive, to council members. And so there's a lot at stake. And so I really encourage people to take this as seriously as we take the presidential elections. We can't do it without you. It has to be an all hands on deck effort. It can't be just the committee trying to do this, but we really need the involvement of our participation. And if there's things you need, let us know. We'll try to ask for more resources, or maybe we have the resources already. We just need to make them more accessible. So thank you for watching today or joining us today, and let's get ready to vote.